Today, I'm going to taste 4 American single malt whiskeys that I haven't had before. American single malts are such an up-and-coming category, so it's been kind of fun to step out of my normal bourbon tastings and try something different. First up, I have the Virginia Distillery Company's Courage and Conviction Double Cask Reserve Single Malt Whiskey. This sample bottle, courtesy of my friend Zipper Dog. Thanks so much for hooking me up with it. Courage and Conviction Double Cask Reserve comes in at 96 proof, is aged for 5 years in a combination of first fill bourbon casks and also red wine cuvee casks. Nose, there are great aromas that just leap right out of the glass. I can definitely pick up those aromas from the bourbon casks as well as the cuvee casks, with also a nice kind of orangey citrus as well as that nice sweet malty aroma. This is really complex. It's got less of that malty sweetness than other American single malts that I've had. Starts off with some really nice scotchy notes and then finishes with a dry red wine note that's delicious. This Courage and Conviction Double Cask Reserve is complex, it's unique, and I think it's one you should consider adding to your collection. Next up, courtesy of the Whiskey Rat, I have Kilkengan Single Malt Cask Strength. This one comes in at 118 proof. On the nose, oh, that's interesting. The primary note is the smoky note, which is from the mesquite smoking, and then it's got a little bit of sweetness in the background. On the palate, so different and so interesting. That mesquite smoke is really good because it's not overpowering, and there's a great balance, I think, between the smokiness, some oak, and some sweetness as well. So interesting. And I'm not a big fan of peated scotches, but this has got this nice smoky aftertaste that just goes on and on. And at 118 proof, it is warm, smooth, sweet, smoky. Boy, there's a party going on in my mouth and everybody's invited. Next up, we're going to try Old Line American Single Malt Whiskey at Navy Strength. This one a recommendation from Diego at All Seasons Wines and Spirits in Yorktown Heights, New York. This one has an interesting backstory from the bottle. Founded by former Navy aviators, bold stories deserve a bold whiskey. On the nose, this has an aroma that's a little bit hard to place. It's not the typical malty sort of richness. It's more of like a licorice note. And there's a bit of a brown sugar note in that too. On the palate, this is really different. It's definitely the least sweet of the ones I've tasted so far. And it still starts with this bit of a licorice note and then kind of goes into a spicy finish. And I don't really get that malted, roasted grain taste like I do on some of the other American single malts. This one's in a category all its own. You know, this might be the first American single malt that I think is bold and spicy enough that it would probably do really well in a cocktail. And this last tasting is courtesy of Mike, better known as Cinnabourbon. So you probably all know that I really enjoy this Westward single malt, but this one just ramps that up a notch. So this is Westward American single malt, single barrel pick at 121.5 proof. This has just got a killer aroma, a ton of that malty sweetness that, again, just jumps right out of the glass. Sweet, it's fruity, it's intense. It smells great. That tastes so good. It's just got everything that I like about American single malts, but it is just so intense and so delicious. That's really good. Now, for comparison, let's compare it to the Westward, the standard issue, which comes in at 90 proof. So it's everything that I like about the standard Westward, but everything is just turned up to 11. So good. Appreciate that, Cinnabourbon. This tasting is just a small slice of the freewheeling American single malt category. And as it continues to develop, you're just going to see more and more interesting and inventive expressions coming out. If you haven't dipped your toe into the American single malt category, I think this is a great time. But what do I know? I'm just a regular guy sipping whiskey. Thanks for watching.